welcome to the award-winning Ed Brown Show. And we have some award-winning guests here, especially Dr. Eugene Williams of the Evolutionary Elders. Now, he's been in there many, many times. You know him as well as you do me. But anyway, we got a terrific guest here with Dr. Williams, Victorious Hall. He's an educator, and I mean, he wrote some interviews on Dr. Williams, and he has a terrific background. Dr. Williams, let's start off with you. How did you get Mr. Hall involved with you as an elder?
Victorious is with the Upper Marlboro Patch. He contacted me to do a story on me, and we talked, and I could feel from just talking to him that he was a dynamic person because he introduced himself as an educator. And you know, I am an educator.
Yeah,
I like educators.
Right.
And I'm particularly impressed with young educators. And he is one. And he'll tell you, or we'll find out as we go on, that he's a teacher. He's a teacher. He's a writer. In other words, he has done some things that I've done. And I like young people who are involved. I want to work with young people. And that's one of the things that we came together on, and we liked each other from talking. And here's Victorious Hall.
Victorious Hall, boy, there's some background here. Started out there. Can you live up to it?
I try my best.
Try your best. Okay.
I try my very best.
Anyway, let's give us your background. How did you get involved in writing, in education?
Well, I always say that I didn't necessarily choose education; it chose me. So I was at Morgan State University studying business, and then I was passing my history classes, but failing my math classes. So
you had to see married then.
Yeah, so I kind of switched up, and I was mentoring at the same time in Baltimore City, and it kind of clicked for me. I was, it felt natural to me. It felt like something that I needed to do. So I changed my major to history, and I decided I was going to be a history teacher. The rest is kind of, took care of itself. I went to Bowie for my master's, and just been trying to do as much as I can to serve my people. It's pretty much how I jumped into the field of education. But I don't know if it's too much of my choice, but more so I think this is what I was put here to do. So I've just been trying to do as much as possible to serve the people in my community. Pretty much.
Well, give us some highlights of some of the things you've done. Now, one of the highlights is that you interviewed Dr. Williams
yes, sir.
on the telephone.
Yes, sir.
This wasn't even live.
Yes, sir.
And I've heard so many wonderful things about the interview. Tell us a little bit about that.
I had the opportunity to interview him about Evolutionary Elders, an organization that he's launching, and it's a wonderful organization to bridge elders into the lives of youth. And we through the conversation, I was just so intrigued by the fact that he had so much experience. I was honored to be able to talk to him because he has so much experience in the field of education, and I'm so new to it. And for him to still be pushing forward and still be very much active and trying to reach out to youth and trying to figure out the best ways to educate youth, and still being able to be reflective on how the best ways to reach youth. I was inspired by the conversation. So having the ability to write about it was an honor to me. And aside from interviewing him, I also, I write about relevant issues facing specifically people, students and teachers in Prince George's County. So that's pretty much what I've been doing in the writing aspect, but in the teaching aspect, I've been teaching history, and I just try my best to center history in the lives of my youth, not just merely from factual, but more so how does this impact me? How can I be better from it? But growing up Prince George's County, I'm involved in a bunch of other different things too.
Well, tell us about it.
But I do a lot of community work. I'm involved in an organization called Up and Up, where we work with, we host live music. We do live music. I do speaking engagements. I travel different places and speak to youth specifically. I do teacher trainings on how to effectively reach students and impart knowledge and different things of that nature. So You know, and I'm married, so you know you got your hands in a bunch of different
Keeps you
pies.
busy.
Yeah, it keeps me very busy. Very busy.
Okay, what is the highlight in your career?
Wow, I think the highlight of my career, I'm very young, so I try my very best to remain humble with all that I'm doing, because I think my career it has nothing to do with me. More so, it has more to do with how am I impacting those that I serve. So I think the highlight of my career is being able to is to have my students, graduate from college. I'm now having students graduate from college or telling me about things that, things in their lives that they've changed. 'Cause that's the whole reason why I'm here. I'm trying to do God's work. Right? That's why I'm here. So it's not really about me and the success of me, but rather the success of the people that I'm trying to serve. And I always try to keep that in mind. But you get different, different awards or different things of that nature. But it's an award is just for me, or a recognition for me is merely a way. It's letting me know that I have more work to do. It's just letting me know that someone's paying attention, so that means I have to get more work done.
Tell us, in dealing with the youth, there's some natural problems, that the youth generally has problems communicating, because although English is English, they have a different language.
Yes.
And that we as evolutionary elders and the youth is a gap there. How do you bridge that?
Wow. What I try to do is respect. First, respect the culture in which they come from, because without that, there's no bridging. Because we have everybody's on a solid foundation. So to bring that foundation together, we first have to understand each other's foundation.
Right.
So the first thing I try to do is respect their foundation, understand why they do certain things, understand the communication barrier, understand how their communication is actually helps them. And then I can use what I know and introduce it to them. And then let them make a decision. It's not something that I force, because that's not education. That is, that's...
You develop an interest.
Yes, you
right.
develop.
And that's so important, you know what I mean? In anything, I don't care what it is, once the interest is developed, then you can work on it and actually come up with a solution.
Yes, sir.
And there's with the gap itself, with Dr. Williams and his group, they are taking on an assignment here that the world has not solved, and getting generations together, all phases of life. The way that we generally have it is that you have a certain plateau in which you reach, and afterwards you go up to the plateau and then you go down. But the evolutionary elders have proven that, hey, you don't go home, sit down, and do nothing. You pass it on to the next generation. And I think that's what you're trying to do. Isn't that right, Dr. Williams?
That is exactly what we're trying to do. And I'm so blessed to have become associated with Victorious and his likes. There are other people like him, that I've worked with others, his age and with his concern as well. But he is especially important to me because, as I said, he's an educator. He's a teacher. He's developing young people. And I like the fact that he's had another experience that I've had, and that is working with charter schools. And he is a teacher at a charter school here in Prince George's County. And
which school is that?
He could tell you about it.
It's Possibility Prep STEM Academy. So first all boys charter school in Prince George's County, focus on science and mathematics.
Based on science and mathematics.
Yes, it's a STEM school. So the foundation or what the curriculum is trying to push.
Well, some people don't understand the term STEM. Explain that.
Well, what it's trying to do is get more black men involved.
Okay.
Involved in the fields of science, technology, and mathematics. And they do a lot of hands-on activities. So they actually have a whole period dedicated. Dedicated to them developing that side of their brain, because oftentimes black men are underrepresented in that field. So it's kind of prepping them, getting them ready for that field. So when they get into high school and then eventually choose a college, they'll be ready, a little bit more well suited for the position.
Well, how do the mentor program like Evolutionary Elders fit in your program?
I mean, I think elders are what's missing from the lives of our youth.
Right.
There's this massive gap is due to our communities. I think, this is my belief, our communities, the breakdown in our communities. I am a product of the elders who raised me. And without that, without a relationship with elders, or without a lack of respect for elders, you don't build a solid foundation. You have nothing to stand on. So there's no respect for anything. And so Evolutionary Elders is an organization that is very much needed in today. And I think people my age, or I guess young men, as I like to call myself, we need to work together in order to kind of bridge, to help be the liaison between the elders and the young people, because you need a unique balance. It has to be a unique balance in order for everybody to be impactful in everyone's life, because everyone is speaking a different language.
Right.
And we all have
exactly.
to, everyone's speaking a different language,
Right.
and it's important for us to kind of work together so that we can all be on the same accord.
Well, when you say work together, as physically and mentally.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, getting the program over mentally, that's a tough job.
Yeah.
Just tell me, how do you bridge that?
I think it's an everyday struggle. It's time. First is the amount of time you put in, and what kind of time are you putting in? And I think one of the biggest things that we can do is, of course, understanding is such a vague concept.
Right.
It's very, it's just, we all say we want to understand each other, but I think when we sit down and we can have conversations with each other and we can be able to listen to each other and understand each other with a mutual respect, I think we're able to bridge that. We're able to bridge that gap. But I think it takes a lot of just working together, a lot of conversations, a lot of analyzing, a lot of just dedication to each other. And first, we have to recognize that it's an issue. Once we recognize it's an issue,
now,
we can move forward.
what role would parents play as far as the young people are concerned in getting this idea over to the youngsters?
Parents, I mean,
How do we get them to get involved? You can tell a person, well, this is the way this is going to work, but getting them to actually give input.
Yeah.
See, when a person gives input into anything, I don't care what it is, being a scientist, that's the way you look at it. Everybody has something to add to a formula.
Yes. You're
right?
You're 100% right.
Right. See. So how do you get over that?
I've read a book probably like 4 years ago, Jawanza Kunjufu's middle class teachers, low class students, or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's the title of it, and it's talking about like the difference in teachers versus the families that they serve, and the kind of the teachers' belief that they are slightly better than the students that they serve.
Right.
And I think this is probably is the single biggest issue that we have in getting parents involved in anything that we're doing.
Right.
Because once you start to have this esteem about yourself that I am better than, then education shuts off. So I think to get parents involved, when my parents come into my classroom, they greet it with a hug, or they greet it with, because all I am is an extension of their family. So we have to understand it as teachers, because this hasn't always happened. I mean, we were having a conversation earlier about, in communities when we were segregated, or separate, as I like to call, we didn't have these issues. We didn't have the issues. How do we get parents involved? Because the parent lived right across the street.